Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Around the Table GTA. Recently I've been doing some pretty normal episodes. I'm just doing normal episodes because that's how I'm feeling, pretty normal. But even then, sometimes your episodes don't have to be extravagant. Sometimes I'm just trying to get a message out. So that's why some of these aren't super articulate. But as long as they're informative and they can change your perspective, then that's the whole point of these episodes. The point of the podcast is to increase your thinking, maybe change your opinion on something, maybe help you consider the following. I've mentioned it before, and I'm going to put that out there again more and more. But basically, this week's episode is about dealing with outcasts as well as getting out of your comfort zone. So the last 2 weekends have been pretty much a blast. It's been a lot of work. 2 weekends ago, I was hanging out with a group of people who are traditionally outcasts. They're so outcast that I'm not even going to mention the group of people, because when you associate with these group of people, especially if you're in a certain circle, there's a lot of stigma, there's a lot of stereotyping, and there's a lot of shame towards this group. And I'm not saying that it's 100% not warranted, but they are kind of a weird group. But going back into this is that they are so outcast. Like from my experience with them, I was partying with them. They are so outcast that once you're either A, accepting of them, or B, become one of them, then there's so much opportunity. And it's so crazy because when you know that you're outcast, or when you know, it's like someone who doesn't have friends, right? When you don't have friends, when you have like one friend or two friends, the amount of attachment that there is to those friends can be overwhelming to those friends. But at the same time, it's because that's your one venue to have that kind of outlet or that relationship with a person. It's like people who are very lonely and then they get in a relationship and then they're super clingy because they haven't experienced that for so long in their life that they're kind of being a little bit of overburdened. But this is not to say that that group isn't overburdened, but once they know that you're accepting of them, they come off a lot more normal than they portray, right? And then you kind of understand more of the mannerisms or why they do certain things. And the stereotypes kind of go away. So I'll just give you an example. Like I had a conversation with someone in the laundry room recently. I never do my laundry on Saturdays, but I did it Saturday morning because I had a lot of things to do this Saturday. And this person was older than me. They were in another decade. So like they're like a decade older than me. And their whole view on like racism and this or that was very old school, right? And what I mean by old school is that they had this deep, deep view of how things are, and everything that I was saying, I was wrong, or I wasn't looking into it, or, I'm just young, so I don't realize how bad it is and everything. And I'm like, no, I understand where your perspective is from, especially from the times that you were born. Like I was talking about what I've dealt with, especially through racism. And then I even compared it with my younger sibling who is about 8 years younger than me. And the difference between me and the person I was talking to and me and my sibling is all different as well. But because out of us three, I'm the one who's the most open with other types of people, other races, other groups of people, I have a completely different view on the matter compared to those two. They actually have more of a similar kind of view, which is crazy. Well, it's not crazy because they stayed in their environment. They didn't go out and see how it is. It's just like if you're, it's like a fairy tale where it's like, if you go in the forest, you're going to get attacked by bears. So everybody just listens and they never go, right? But then you go into the forest, one person chooses to go in the forest and they find out that there's talking bears in the forest and they're really nice people or they're really nice bears, right? You won't know until you actually go. And I'm not saying that you have to go in the forest and find out and get attacked by these angry bears, because what if it was true and the bears are angry? But maybe at that time the bears were angry and this is why the bears were angry and they attacked people. I know this is a really silly analogy, but I'm kind of a silly person. But basically, you have to keep yourself open-minded, right? So partying with this group, just getting back to the point, partying with this group, talking with them, like a lot of them are very interconnected and they make pretty good music as well. So even one person was saying, oh yeah, because I'm this, and then my boss knew that I was this, it set me up for a new job, and he helped him grow into another avenue of work because of that mutual connection, right? Being part of that community. And that's the thing about community. That's the thing about even like doing community services or just getting out of your social circles and talking to different people. Some things aren't as black and white as we think it is, and some of them are. But at the same time, if you don't venture out to see certain things, you will not know, you will not learn, right? What your parents face compared to what you'll face today is going to be completely different, because the world is constantly changing, especially with technology, especially with how things are. So just the last example, this weekend, I went to a festival and I dragged my mom along, and my mom was like, oh no, I don't want to come to the festival, I just want to sit at the store. And I'm like, honestly, you need to go and experience things outside of the shop, because you are doing a lot of stuff that's old school, and I'm going to show you how you're wrong. But it's not in a mean way, but it's just like you need to adapt, because the world isn't the same old world that you were dealing with. So anyways, to kind of cut the story short, the amount of money that we made at that event was significant. And I could tell you the amount of effort that I put in was not was not super high. I was just a little bit enthusiastic. So through that event, I kind of was trying to coach my mom, because we have a family business, on different things that she could do to attract more business, and certain things that she's doing, which is pushing away business as well. Because we're in a society now that if you say the wrong thing and it's recorded, you'll go viral, you'll lose your business. You have to be super open-minded about certain stuff. When you have a customer, it's not like back in the day. Because you have a store, people are going to walk in. People aren't going to walk into your store if they don't know what's in the store. They don't know who you are, especially after the pandemic. Well, we're technically still in the pandemic, but that's another episode. People have changed. Outgoing people aren't as outgoing anymore. A lot of people are very to themselves. OVO Fest just got canceled because Drake got C19, right? So we are in a world where people aren't even handling cash as much, right? So we didn't have those Square things, and I'm like, yo, you gotta get a Square thing, right? You gotta get mobile, this and that, right? So we lost maybe, I would say 5% of our sales, because we didn't have no type of debit or credit. But I saved some of the sales by using e-transfer, right? Because some people are still comfortable with e-transfer, but you have to adapt with the times. And even certain things you could try to hold on to, I'm still on IG. I'm big anti TikTok, even though I knew about TikTok in summer 2018 when I was in Japan. TikTok is just something that I really don't want to get into. Maybe I'll get into it eventually. I'll do some reels, because reels are the thing for freaking engagement now, right? Because how these companies and the government wants is that you to be endlessly scrolling, right? But that's for a C theory episode. Yeah, so that's just how engagement works now. They want you to be on their platforms as long as possible. So that's why I still do YouTube, because YouTube, despite how old it is, people will still flock to YouTube. People will still see things on YouTube, right? Still gotta throw some stuff on Spotify soon. That's part of the goals this August. Guys, let me know what your goals are for this August. But just to wrap it up, because I am heading to work soon, I'm starting to do these things right at the start of the day, just so that I have a little bit more energy, more pep in my talk. But basically, you know, you need to get out of your comfort zone every once in a while, and yeah, you need to consider the following. And I'm going to actually try to get someone from this group for a podcast, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that podcast. Then it'll get you a little bit more information from the group that I'm talking about. But the people who know me might know what group I'm talking about, but if you don't, you're just like, what is this guy talking about? I gotta tune into that episode. But anyways, hopefully you guys have a nice long weekend. It's a long weekend right now. You guys aren't gonna hear this till after a long weekend, but it doesn't matter. Make sure you guys are enjoying yourself while summer lasts, because that's what I'm doing. There's a real world outside. Go live in it till it gets cold. Unless you do like it when it's cold, then, you know, stay inside till it gets cold, and then you could go do your winter activities. Anyways, see you guys on the next one.